It's still really dark.
Hello?
Hi, yes, we can hear you. Good afternoon.
Okay, good. See our list. We got Iris and Mary. You're here? Okay. You're the plaintiffs, and then Braden and Rodney, is that right? You're the defense on this?
Yes.
Okay. And you have your witnesses. Okay. I'm just going to give you, my name is Eric Johnson. I was a prosecutor in my earlier career for 32 years, and I've been an adjunct here for 14 years. And so I've got a lot of experience doing this. What I'm going to do is each side you get 30 minutes. So I'm going to time you, and you can go less, but you can't go over. So everything you do can't be over 30 minutes. So if you take too long and you're direct or somewhere, then it's going to suffer. Yesterday I had people that did directs that were too long, and they ended up doing a closing that was about a minute. Okay, but that's up to you. I'll let you know how long it's taking if you want. But just so you know, after 30 minutes I cut you off. Okay, so there's some time management involved here. The other thing is, when you object, don't be afraid to object. Just say objection and then raise your hand so I know where it's coming from, okay? Any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, all right, just a second. Okay. Plaintiffs, are you ready with your opening?
Yes.
Okay, and Mary, you're going to be doing that?
That's correct.
Okay, are you ready?
I am.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor, and may it please the court. My name is Mary Mejia, and I, along with my co-counsel, Iris Anderson here, represent Ms. Fran Mullen. Fran Mullen suffered damages in the amount of $30,472 when she was sold a defective and damaged 1978 Porsche from the defendant, Pat Hale. Your Honor, this case is about broken promises. In the defendant's eagerness to secure a loan for a condo, the defendant decided to sell her Porsche to obtain a down payment. The defendant placed an online ad in order to reach potential buyers, and through that ad and words spoken directly to my client, Fran Mullen, the defendant created expectations and made promises to my client that were not kept. My client, Fran Mullen, is a single, educated professional woman living in Summit City. For years, Fran Mullen dreamed of owning a classic vintage Porsche, as it reminded her of her own father, who owned a similar car at her age. Fran Mullen spent many years diligently saving her money in order to purchase her dream car. You will learn that after many years of searching and saving, Ms. Mullen finally found her dream car. And you will learn through the evidence provided that on April 10th, a promise of a car in excellent condition was made by the defendant to my client. On April 10th, Ms. Mullen came across an ad for the sale of a 1978 Porsche with low mileage and in excellent condition. Ms. Mullen quickly called the defendant and enthusiastically inquired on the car. She then walked over to the defendant's home that same day to look at the vehicle. Ms. Mullen relied on the defendant's word regarding the excellent condition and maintenance of the car. The defendant gave an asking price of $45,000 to Ms. Mullen on the basis that the car was in excellent condition. Ms. Mullen then proceeded to purchase the car at the defendant's asking price, as her expectation was that the seller would uphold the promises made during their conversations and through the ad. She made the first installment payment of $30,000 with the remaining balance to be paid in 10 days. She drove away that day excited in a car she expected to be in good conditions. Sadly, her excitement was shortly lived. Within days of the purchase, Fran Mullen began to experience issues with the car. The car began to appear sluggish upon acceleration, and then she began to hear muffled, rattling sounds from the engine. Fran Mullen communicated these concerns and issues to the defendant on at least 4 occasions to no avail. As the days progressed, so did the issues. The defendant did not offer to inspect or pay for any repairs. Ms. Mullen took the car to get inspected, costing her $472 out of her own pocket. After major mechanical issues with the chain tensioner were identified that amounted in $6,000, Ms. Mullen immediately informed the defendant, but the defendant made no offers to repair the car. Fran Mullen had no other choice but to return the car back, so she did just that. On April 26th, Fran Mullen returned the car. Now, my client has no car and is out $30,472. There are 3 questions that will be addressed today. Was there a warranty? Was that warranty breached? And did that breach result in an injury? Now, there will be a disagreement in the evidence presented to you of when the defects of the car appeared. You will see in the evidence the service manager of the Twin Cities Sports Car Center noted the defects appeared shortly after the car was sold, and you will also see the owner and service operator of the Foreign Classic Car Specialist note that these defects were present before the defendant sold the car. After hearing everything, we believe, Your Honor, that you will agree with the owner and service operator's inspection of the car. Finally, you will see from all the documents presented that the facts convincingly support the claims asserted by my client, as she will ask you to issue an award in favor of Fran Mullen. Thank you.
And do I have permission to proceed, Your Honor?
Just 1 second.
Okay.
Okay. Defense, are you ready with your opening?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
Okay. And you're Braden?
Braden.
Okay. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Your Honor, this is a simple matter of the sale of a car, specifically a classic blue 1978 Porsche 911 that was passed down by generations. Unfortunately, what brings us here today is a dispute over this precious car. Fran Mullen had an interest in purchasing the Porsche 911. It was her dream car. She knew the rarity of this car. A car like this doesn't come at a cheap price. It's aged a bit, has some history behind it. But when you're in the market for a car like this, you'll know exactly what you are purchasing. Unfortunately, not everyone can afford a car like this. Most people tend to set up a payment plan, allowing the enjoyment of the car instantly, but get some time to reflect on the big purchase. We ask you to carefully examine the evidence that will be presented to you. We are confident at the conclusion of the trial, my client, Pat Hill, will be exonerated from any liability, and his transparency will be shown. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, plaintiffs, are you ready to call your first witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
And who was that going to be?
Fran Mullen.
Okay, Fran Mullen, you're already sworn in. We'll assume you're sworn in. Okay. Iris, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Ms. Mullen.
Good afternoon.
Can you please state your full name for the record?
Fran Mullen.
And where do you currently live, Ms. Mullen?
I live at 700 Portland Avenue in Summit City.
And what is your educational background?
I have a BA from Summit University.
And what type of work do you do?
Right now, I work as a sales rep at Beacon Printing Company.
Miss Mullen, would you share with the court why you are here today?
I'm here today because Pat Hill tried to sell me a Porsche 911 that had a bad engine after she assured me that the car was in excellent condition. I returned the car and tried to get my money back, but Miss Hill ignored my calls and she refused to return my money. That's why we're here.
Thank you. And can you please tell the court how you first found out about Pat Hill selling her Porsche?
Yes, ma'am. So in the spring of last year, I started looking for a vintage Porsche to buy, and I came across Miss Hill's ad for a 1978 Porsche 911. That's how I found out she was selling that car.
And what happened when you came across Miss Hill's ad?
Oh, I was very excited because I was seriously looking to buy one, and I needed to find something in my budget that was also in excellent condition. So when I saw Mrs. Hill's ad, it seemed to meet these conditions.
Now, would you recognize a copy of the ad you saw last April?
Yes, I would, yes.
Your Honor, at this time, with the court's permission, I would like to show my witness what opposing counsel and I have agreed previously to as marked Exhibit 1.
Go ahead.
Ms. Mullen, I'm showing you what has been marked as Exhibit 1. Do you know what this is?
Yes, I do.
Do you have a copy of Exhibit 1 in front of you?
I do.
And Ms. Mullen, what is Exhibit 1?
It's the ad for the car in the Summit Dispatch newspaper that I responded to.
And how do you know this?
It has the exact same wording and the same number of miles that turned out to be incorrect, actually.
Is the content of this copy identical to the content in the online ad that you responded to?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, at this time, I offer Exhibit 1, the ad from Summit Dispatch.
Any objection?
No objection.
It's received.
Thank you. Ms. Mullen, what in this ad caused you to respond to it?
Really, it was the price, the mileage, and it also said that the Porsche was in excellent condition.
And what did excellent condition mean to you?
I thought it meant that the car would not have any major issues for at least 1 year or so. I knew nothing about cars, so I needed to rely on what the seller had told me.
What did you do after you saw the ad?
I immediately called Miss Hale and I asked if I could come over to check the car out.
And what did Ms. Hale say?
She agreed, and I walked over to her house to see the car.
And what did you do once you arrived at Ms. Hale's home?
So I saw the car in the driveway. I walked around the car and I saw that the car was unlocked, so I sat in it.
Did you notice anything about the outside of the car?
There were some minor chips in the body vent.
Did you notice anything about the inside of the car?
Yes, the odometer read 43,100 miles. In the door, I remember the ad said it was 34,100 miles. So this concerned me because the information listed in the ad was incorrect.
What did you do after that?
I then rang the doorbell and I introduced myself.
And what happened next?
Miss Hale came out and we walked around the car. She opened the trunk compartment. She also opened the engine hood. And I asked about any mechanical conditions because that was important to me and that would have influenced my decision to purchase the car.
What was your understanding to Ms. Hill's response to that question?
I understood that the car ran well and that she was taking good care of the car and the only repairs were usual sports car stuff.
Okay. What did usual sports car stuff mean to you?
I was thinking maybe an oil change, things like that.
Did Ms. Hill tell you why she was selling the Porsche?
Yes, she did. She said that she had inherited it from her mom and that she needed to sell the car so that she could be able to afford a down payment for a house.
Did you ask Miss Hill any other questions about the vehicle?
I asked her about the 43,100 miles on the odometer, and that the ad was saying 34,100. And she said that the correct mileage was 43,100 at that point.
Was that concerning to you?
Yes, it was, because I was concerned that perhaps there were other discrepancies in the ad, which is why I made sure to ask if there had been any other issues with the car, to which Ms. Hale stated that there were none. I also asked about vehicle maintenance, and she stated that she took the car to the mechanic a few weeks ago and everything was fine. That's what she said.
And what happened after that?
Ms. Hale and I took the car for a test drive.
Who drove?
Ms. Hale did. I asked her to drive the car, but she refused to allow me to drive.
Did you notice anything on that test drive?
I tried to pay close attention during the test drive since she wouldn't let me drive, but she only drove the car for about a few minutes and it was in the neighborhood, so I wasn't able to see how the vehicle drove really.
Okay. What happened after the test drive?
I offered to pay $39,000 for the car, but Ms. Hale refused. She said that the $45,000 was firm. She said the car was actually worth $50,000 because it was such in excellent condition.
Interesting. Okay, did you come to an agreement with Miss Hale?
Yes, in the end, I agreed to pay the $45,000 if I could pay $30,000 on the spot and then an additional $15,000 in the following 10 days. And Miss Hale agreed to this, and she did say that she would keep the title of the car until I paid the $15,000 though.
When agreeing to the purchase of the vehicle, what did you rely on the most?
I relied on the fact that Ms. Hale said the vehicle was in excellent condition, that the vehicle had no major mechanical issues, no major problems, and that's the reason why I agreed to it.
After you purchased the car, did you notice anything? What did you notice about the vehicle?
So the next 3 days, I drove the vehicle after work, and I noticed that it was sluggish when I tried to accelerate. So I did some research and I put in high octane gas because and then I drove it for about 75 miles per hour because I thought that would fix the sluggish problem.
Did it fix it?
No, it did not. And then that's when I called Miss Hale and I asked her about it, and she said that had never happened to her. And I told her that I wouldn't pay the remaining $15,000 until the engine issues were resolved.
And what was your understanding of Miss Hill's response?
My understanding was that she wanted me to fix it.
Yeah. And did she recommend that you take it anywhere specifically?
She suggested that I take the car to Twin City Sports Car to get it checked out, which is what I did.
Okay. And when you took the car to Twin Cities, what was your understanding from the mechanic about the problems that you were having with the vehicle?
My understanding was that he couldn't really do anything until he checked the internal workings of the engine. I believe he said that it might be the chain tensioner, but he could not be sure without inspecting the engine. I tried to contact Miss Hale, but I couldn't reach her at that point.
What happened next?
I asked the mechanic if I could keep driving the car, and my understanding was that yes, that was just fine, but I had to pay attention to any new engine noises moving forward.
And what did you do after taking the car, leaving Twin Cities Sports Car Center? What did you do after you left?
So the next day, I drove to Brainerd with some friends because the mechanic had said that it would be fine to drive the car.
And when you returned from Brainerd, what happened next?
So when I was getting back into town, I was hearing strange muffled sounds coming from the engine. So I called Miss Hale and I told her about the rattling sound. And I told her that I was going to have a mechanic check it out the next day. And if there was something more than a minor issue, I would want my money back.
Did you take the car to the mechanic the next day?
Yes, I took it to a foreign classic car specialist the next day.
And what were you told?
So it was my understanding that the chain tensioner had caused internal damage to the engine.
Did the mechanic share with you the cause of the damage?
Yeah, it was either by a lack of proper maintenance or an extreme hard and abusive driving over a period of time.
Interesting.
My understanding was that it will cost about $6,000 to repair the engine.
And how much did the inspection cost?
$472.
Would you recognize a copy of the receipt?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time, with the court's permission, I will share my witness, show my witness what opposing counsel and I have agreed previously as marked as Exhibit 2.
Go ahead.
Ms. Mullen, I'm showing you what has been marked as Exhibit 2. Do you know what this is?
Yes, I do.
Do you have a copy of Exhibit 2 in front of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Mullen, what is Exhibit 2?
It's the receipt from Foreign Classic Car Specialist when I took it in to find out what was wrong with the car.
How do you know this is the same receipt?
Because of the date, it's dated April 25th, and I had to pay $472 for the inspection.
Your Honor, at this time, I offer Exhibit 2, the receipt for the inspection.
Any objection?
No objection.
It's received.
Thank you. Ms. Mullen, what did you do after paying for the inspection?
So I was very upset that Miss Hale would try to sell me a car with engine issues after I asked her if there was any mechanical issues, and she reassured me that it was in excellent condition. So I called her and I told her that I was returning the car to her and I wanted my $30,000 back. Hale then said that a deal is a deal, and she demanded that I paid her the $15,000. I told her no at that point and that the contract was canceled. And I told her that I would return the car the following day. And that's when she hung up on me.
Wow. What did you do after that, Ms. Mullen?
So the following day, I drove the car to Miss Hale's. I parked it in the driveway like she had it before. And I rang the bell. I knocked on the door. No one answered. And I just left the car in the driveway just like how I had found it on April 10th. And then I left the keys and a note in her mailbox.
What did the note say?
It said, I returned your car. Now return my $30,000.
And what did you do after that?
I walked home and I immediately canceled the insurance on the car.
One final question. Did Ms. Hill, by any chance, ever mention going out of town to you on the phone when you spoke with her on that call?
No, she did no such thing.
Thank you so much for your time today, Ms. Mullen. Your Honor, I have no further questions for this witness. I would like to offer into evidence the deposition of Chris Bennett.
Any objection to that?
No objection.
Okay, that's also received.
The plaintiff rests.
Okay, thank you. Who's going to be doing cross? I can't hear you. I'm sorry. Rodney, I can't hear you. Ms. Mullen, are you available to stay around a while, or do you have to leave?
I can stay, Your Honor.
So why don't you stay if it's okay? We'll keep moving, and maybe Rodney can figure out his sound issue. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. And then we'll also reserve a rebuttal too, Iris. Okay. So let's go to the direct for. Braden, are you going to do the direct on Pat Hale?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, let's go to that. Okay.
Are you guys able to hear me?
Oh, now we can. Okay. Good.
All right. I had to go log off, log back on. And
Okay.
it worked.
All right. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes, Your Honor. I am ready to begin cross-examining.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor, and may it please the court. Good afternoon, Ms. Mullen.
Yes, sir.
Do you work?
I do.
What do you do?
I'm a sales rep.
Do you advise customers
Sometimes.
on purchases
Yes, sometimes.
from your company?
Yes, sir.
You mentioned an ad. Did you read an ad
I did.
for the Porsche?
I did.
What condition did the ad say the Porsche was in?
Excellent.
Did you see the Porsche?
At what point? When I was reading the ad?
On April 10th.
I did.
Did you see any other Porsches?
At Miss Hale's house, you mean?
In general, while searching.
I've seen Porsches before, yes.
In person, when you were searching for a purchase, did you see any Porsches in person to buy?
I don't recall.
Okay. Did the Porsche match the ad?
The Porsche, the information on the ad and the information that I received that day did not match.
Okay. Did you inspect it?
I looked around, yes.
Did you inspect the engine?
I looked at it.
Did an expert inspect it?
No.
But you rode in it.
Yeah, I was sitting on the car when he was driving it.
Did you hear anything?
Can you be more?
Anything that concerned you?
At that point, no.
No engine noises?
No.
What condition was the Porsche in?
When I was riding in it,
What condition did you say it is?
at that point, it was okay. It was okay.
Okay. You can assess the condition of a sports car?
I'm no expert.
Okay, so without an expert, you can't assess the condition.
No.
Objection, Your Honor. It's not, Plaintiff's not an expert witness to make the assessment on the vehicle.
That's what she said.
Okay.
So, is there a legal objection?
Well, just opposing counsel is asking questions as if a client is an expert witness.
Well, I think he asked. Okay, I'm going to overrule the objection. I think she answered it appropriately. Go
Thank
ahead.
you, Your Honor. Have you ever inspected a car?
No.
An old sports car, perhaps? Never?
I don't know what you mean by inspect a car.
Okay. I'll move on from the question. Did you buy the car
Yes.
based on the ad?
Based on many things. The ad
Based
was
on the
one
inspection?
thing. Based on the excitement when I saw it, I was looking for that type
Based on
of
the-
cover.
Based on the ride, perhaps?
I was just very happy to get something that I was looking for so long.
Okay. Was it based on the engine at all?
I wouldn't say so.
You didn't buy the car based on the engine?
I bought the whole car, not just the engine.
Okay. Did you sign a contract
I did.
for the car?
Yes.
With Hale, correct? With Ms. Hale?
Yes.
Did that contract promise you would pay
Yes.
$15,000 in addition to the 30, correct?
Yes.
In 10 days?
Yes.
Were you apprehensive about the purchase?
No.
Okay. The car was old, yes?
It's a 1978 car. Yes.
Okay. You figured it might require more than oil changes?
I mean, I asked him about mechanical conditions, and he said everything was fine. So, to me, the only thing, and oil changes, something that everybody does for their car. So, yeah.
Okay. So you thought an old sports car only required oil changes?
I mean, all cars require an oil change if they don't have any mechanical issue.
Okay. After the purchase, you drove the car
I did. Yes.
for several days?
Yes.
Did you speed?
I did at some point, yes.
Over 75 miles per hour?
Sure. Yeah.
Did you hear any engine noises?
I did.
After only 3 days of driving, did you hear any engine noises?
I did.
Did you call Hale
I did.
after 3 days?
Yes, I did. I called her.
And you're sure you heard engine noises after the first 3 days?
Your Honor, objection asked and answered.
I'm going to sustain the objection. She's already answered the question.
I understand, Your Honor. Her answer is inconsistent with the deposition that she provided, and I was trying to get her to correct her.
Then
statement.
then you can go into the deposition if you want. I mean, your call. You can't just keep asking her the same question.
Okay, Your Honor, at this time, I would like to introduce the deposition of Ms. Mullen into evidence.
Okay, and that's Exhibit 5. Let's assume
Yes, we can call it Exhibit 5, yes.
okay. Any objection?
No objection.
No objection.
Okay, that's received.
Ms. Mullen, do you have your deposition in front of you?
I do not, but I can get to it.
Haley.
Yeah. Ms. Mullen, I could assist you on page 2. If you'd like, I can quote what the deposition says and
Yes.
just affirm if that is correct. Is that satisfactory to the court?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I quote, I drove the car Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday after work, and everything worked fine, except I noticed the car seemed sluggish on acceleration.
That is correct.
You didn't make any mention in your deposition of noises in the first 3 days. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. At that point, you were unhappy with the performance, yes?
Yes.
Did you refuse to pay the $15,000 at that point?
At that point, I believe Ms. Hale has asked me to take the car to Mechanical Sports City to have it check it out.
Okay, would like to refer you to the same deposition, if that's okay, on the same paragraph. And if you'd like, I can quote it for you. If that's satisfactory.
Yes.
Quote, I called Hale on Wednesday, April 20th, and told Hale I was not going to make the $15,000 payment until the engine problems were resolved. Unquote. Is that accurate?
Yes.
So you canceled the contract after 3 days?
I do not recall canceling the contract.
But the deposition is correct.
Yes, it is.
Did you offer for Hale to fix the problem?
I did not.
Did you have the engine inspected at that point yet?
Yes.
You finally had it inspected after you refused to pay?
I had it inspected at some point when it was making the noise. It was sluggish and all that, yes.
After you canceled the contract?
I don't recall canceling the contract when I called her after the 3 days.
Okay, but per the deposition, you canceled the contract, correct?
I don't believe I canceled the contract at that point.
Okay. I will quote again from the deposition if that's okay with court.
Yes.
Quote, I was not going to make the $15,000 payment until the engine problems were resolved, unquote. That was made on Wednesday, April 20th. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I wanted the engine issues to be resolved. I didn't cancel the contract. I wanted the engine issues to be resolved.
Okay. Did you drive it after the inspection?
I did.
Locally?
I went to Brainerd.
So you took it to a racetrack?
I took it to Brainerd. Yes.
Okay. And on the way, you didn't hear any engine noises?
I recall that I was told it was okay to still drive it and to pay attention to any noise engine. And that's the reason why I kept driving it.
Okay, so you didn't hear any engine noises yet?
No,
On the way back home, did you hear any engine noises?
I did.
And was the car inspected again?
Yes.
On April 25th, correct?
Yes,
Did you call Ms. Hale?
I did.
Do you recall canceling the contract again?
I do not.
Do you recall refusing to pay the remaining balance?
I remember that I wanted the engine issues to be resolved before I paid the 15,000 remainder. Yes.
Okay, so you arranged to exchange the car?
I told Miss Hale that I was going to return the car
At what time?
the following day.
So you returned the car to Ms. Hale
Yes.
in person?
I left it in the driveway of her place, at her place.
You showed the car to Hale then?
I left it in the driveway.
Ms. Hale didn't see the car?
I couldn't reach her that day. She wasn't at her place. So I left it in the driveway.
So Ms. Hale didn't have a chance to inspect the car?
She was not there.
Okay. I rest, Your Honor. I have no further.
Counsel, do you have any rebuttal?
Just one clarifying question. Ms. Mullen, when you left, when you made that call to Ms. Hill, and you told her that you were going to be returning that car, did she mention going out of town?
She did not.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
No rebuttal from defense, Your Honor.
Defense, are you ready with your witness? Does anybody need Ms. Mullen anymore? Okay, Ms. Mullen, you can leave if you want.
Thank you.
Whatever you want to do, it's fine. Okay? Okay, I forgot to thank her. Who brought in Iris or Mary? Did you bring in
I
Ms.
did.
Mullen?
She's downstairs. I'll let her know. Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah, tell her she did a really good job.
I
She's a
will.
good witness.
Thank
All
you
right?
so much.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Braden, are you ready to call your first witness?
He just
Call your
gave you
only
a
witness,
shout out.
rather?
Yes, Your
He
Honor.
said, please, I forgot
go
to
ahead.
thank her. She was a great
Your Honor,
witness.
I'll
She
offer
did
into
a great
evidence the deposition of Terry Laurel.
That's Exhibit 6.
Yes.
Any objection? Somebody? Any objection?
job. No,
No
Your
objection.
Honor. No
Okay,
objection.
thank you.
Your Honor, I'd like to call Pat Hale to the stand.
Okay. Pat Hale, you're under oath. Okay? Go ahead.
Can you please state your name for the record?
Pat Hale,
Where do you currently reside, Pat?
Summit City, born and raised.
Do you have any formal education?
Yes, I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, and I'm currently working on my master's.
How was that experience?
It was good. I had to work my way through college. I played the piano in the jazz band, and
So
I
what's
worked. I'm sorry.
What's your current occupation?
I work as a counselor at the Summit City Crisis Center.
Would you say that your employment is steady?
It has its ups and downs.
Do you own or rent a home?
I currently rent.
I'm on mute for
Have you ever owned a vehicle?
Yes, I owned a 1978 Porsche 911.
What kind of car is that?
It's considered a classic car, and it's a limited production model.
Given the rarity of the car, do you consider yourself to be a car girl?
No, I do not.
How did you get this car?
I inherited from my mother when she passed.
How do you know the rarity of this car?
I've had it appraised, and I've searched it online.
So what made you decide to have it appraised?
I was considering selling it.
How come?
I wanted to purchase a condo. I didn't want to pay rent anymore.
And what did your research conclude?
That the model ranged from 40 to 60,000.
Would you consider your car to be the same quality as the similar models you found on the internet?
Yes, but mine was a little more rare because it was a limited production model.
So after this appraisal, do you have any work done on the car?
I've had some maintenance and a little bit of work done, yes.
Did that cost any money?
Yes, I've probably spent around $1,000.
Was there any other work performed?
I believe the chain tensioner had been replaced.
So did the Twin Cities Sports Car Center ever indicate any issues during the routine maintenance that they performed for you?
Once they did, but I believe I had it fixed.
When did you list the vehicle for sale?
April 3rd.
With the court's permission, I'll show my witness what the opposing counsel and I have agreed as Exhibit 1.
Go ahead.
Pat, can you identify what this is in front of you?
Yeah, it's the ad I placed.
What information does the ad contain?
It has the car model, the year, and the odometer read, and that it's in excellent condition.
Your Honor, I'd like to enter what is marked for identification as Exhibit 1.
Let's see, ad.
Yes.
Was that already entered? Did the plaintiff's attorney enter that? Iris, did you enter that?
I'm sorry, what was it?
The ad?
Yes, I did. Yes, sir.
So the ads are already in.
Okay.
All right.
Ms. Hale, what was the reason for the listing?
I wanted to purchase a condo and I needed a down payment.
Did you have any reservations on selling this car?
Yes, it was from my family. It had sentimental value. My mother left it for me.
Did you have any interested buyers?
I've had a few people look at it, but it hadn't been listed that long.
So what would you say when someone would contact you to purchase the car?
I would tell them it was in excellent condition, how much I wanted for it, that it's a classic car.
What was your interaction with Fran Mullen?
She was very excited to look at the car.
What happened when she came over?
She was excited. Apparently she looked at the car when I wasn't even around.
Did you make any promises to Fran about the car?
No.
Did you make any statements to Fran about the car?
Just that I've had maintenance done.
Did Fran test drive the car?
No.
Why did you drive the car instead of Fran?
It's a valuable car. It's my car.
Were there any objection to you driving instead of Fran?
No.
Was there talk of a purchase after the test drive?
Yes.
Was this agreement in writing?
Yes.
With the court's permission, I'll show my witness with opposing counsel and I have agreed as Exhibit 3.
Go ahead.
Pat, are you familiar with what is shown to you?
Yes.
What is it?
It's the agreement that she would pay $30,000 now and then $15,000 on April 20th for the rest of the car.
Whose idea was this to put this in writing?
Mine.
What's the date of the contract?
It was dated April 10th.
And those two signatures on there, whose are those?
Mine and Fran Mullins.
Does it contain any language on when the title of the vehicle will pass?
Once payment was made.
So what happened? What happened at the conclusion of this agreement?
She never paid.
Did Miss Mullen drive away with the car?
Yes.
Did you receive anything whenever she drove away with the car?
Did I what?
Ever receive anything, like a check?
Not after the $30,000. No.
So you received a $30,000 check and Miss Mullen drove away with the car?
Yes.
So after this, was there any further communication from Mullen?
Yes.
What was said?
She called complaining about some noise and about it stalling, I believe.
And what did you tell her?
That it's a classic older car. It's going to take some getting used to.
Okay, and after this communication, was there any further communication?
Yes. She called, I believe, April 20th. And she was very, very angry.
Do you recall what she told you?
That she wasn't going to pay me $15,000.
And what did you say?
She said the deal was off.
And what did you tell her?
Not much, because I told her to take it and get it inspected.
Were you going out of town?
Yes.
Were you going to be home whenever she was going to drop off this vehicle?
No.
What happened when you returned home?
I found a note and the keys in my mailbox.
What was the note?
I don't remember. I threw it away.
Was it a note from Fran Mullen?
Yes.
Where was the car parked?
There was no car there.
Did anyone see the car?
I think one of my neighbors said it was there for a little bit.
Well, when you returned home, the car was not there.
No, there was no car.
Did you speak to Miss Mullen after not seeing the car?
No.
Did you call Miss Mullen after not seeing the car?
I believe I called and asked for my $15,000.
Did you file a police report for this missing car?
Yes, I did.
And what was said?
That the car was missing, but I gave them Fran Mullen's information because it was her car.
Okay, so you did not file a police report, you just called the police.
Yes.
So when was the last time you saw this Porsche?
April 10th.
And what happened on that day?
I sold my car.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Hale, please state your full name for the court again.
Pat Hale.
Ms. Hale, you grew up in a family that drove Porsches, correct?
Yes.
And you inherited your mom's 1978 Porsche?
Yes.
Isn't it true that you used the car to commute to work,
Yes.
drive around town,
Yes.
vacation road trips?
Yes.
Ms. Hale, during your direct, you mentioned that you took your car for maintenance on a periodic basis. Is that correct?
Yes.
But you have no documentation showing that you actually kept up to date with those periodic maintenances. Is that
No,
correct?
I didn't keep receipts.
And you would get your car services by Twin Cities Sports Car Center, correct?
Yes.
And you were aware that Twin Cities Sports identified a problem with the engine?
Yes.
And that problem pertained to the chain tensioner?
Yes, but I believe I had it fixed.
And you disclosed minor mechanical work to Ms. Mullen.
Yeah.
Is that correct? But you didn't disclose bigger issues such as the chain tensioner. Is that correct?
No, because I've had it fixed.
So you did not feel the need to share that information, a large repair to Ms. Mullen?
No, because it wasn't a problem anymore.
Isn't it true, Ms. Hale, that you were looking into buying a condo?
Yes.
And in order to secure the loan, you needed a down payment.
Yes.
So you decided to sell the Porsche to obtain the down payment, correct?
Yes.
And you personally placed the ad online for the sale of the car. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you noted in the ad that the Porsche was in excellent condition.
Yes.
And you also included the the mileage of the vehicle.
Yes.
The actual mileage of the reading on the vehicle is 43,100. Is that correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, with the court's permission, I would like to show the witness what opposing counsel and I have agreed previously marked as Exhibit 1, the ad placed.
Go ahead.
I'm going to share my screen real quick. This one. Ms. Hale, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
Can you tell the court what you see?
I see the ad I placed.
Okay. And I'm going to read what the ad says. It says, this ad appeared from April 3rd to April 10th. It's a vintage 1978 Porsche 911, excellent condition, 34,100 miles, 45,000 firm. That's, you would agree with that? With what I just read?
Yeah.
Let me share real quick. So again, did I read that correctly?
Yes.
So there was a discrepancy then with the actual mileage and what the ad stated, correct?
Yeah, there appears to be a typo.
And you told callers interested in your car that the vehicle was very well maintained, yes?
I said it was in excellent condition.
And Fran Mullen was one of those callers?
Yes.
And Fran Mullen sounded excited to you on the phone?
Yes.
And then she came to your home that same day
Yes.
to see the car.
Yes.
And Fran Mullen requested a test drive the car, didn't she?
Yes.
But you did not let her test drive the car. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And you told Fran Mullen that, you had told her that you took good care of the car. Yes, at the end
Yes.
of driving, and that you performed the routine maintenance.
Yes.
But the last maintenance performed in the car was several months ago. Is that correct?
Yes.
And by the end of the conversation, you sensed Fran Mullen wanted to purchase the car. Is that
Yes,
correct?
she was excited.
So you decided not to bargain.
No.
And Fran first made you an offer of $39,000, correct?
Yes.
But you told Fran Mullen the car was worth $45,000.
Yes, my ad said 45,000 firm.
And that was, again, because the car was in excellent physical condition.
Yes.
And so Fran Mullen accepted your asking price of $45,000.
She accepted 30,000 and then to pay 15,000 later.
And did Fran Mullen express concerns about the vehicle
No.
with you afterwards? After she drove off, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. After she drove off with the car, did she subsequently express concerns with the vehicle?
Later, yes.
And that was within a week of purchasing the car, correct?
Yes.
And she expressed her concerns to you on at least 4 occasions?
No.
No. Okay. Ms. Hale, do you recall giving your deposition in September?
Yes.
And do you have it on hand with you?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, may I share my screen so that the court may also follow along as well?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Back. So, Ms. Hale, I am going to
Your
roll
Honor,
along with
Your Honor, I would like to object. This has not been entered into evidence.
This deposition hasn't been entered in? Is that correct?
No, Your Honor, I don't believe it has.
I apologize. Your Honor, I would like to show this as this evidence to build the foundations that our client did on at least 4 occasions let her concerns be known to Ms. Hale and that she was aware. And then that would be the basis for entering it into evidence.
Well, I think what you should do, first of all, you should enter it. Is there any objection to this document being received?
No, Your Honor, there's no objection to it being received.
Okay, I'm going to receive it, so now it's into evidence. I think I would think if this is more. Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry,
No, that's fine.
I am going to, because I just moved this thing, so sorry. Okay, so we're going to look first at paragraph 9, since you have your deposition with you, Ms. Hale. Paragraph 9, the first sentence, and it reads, "The first complaint I received from Mullen was on Sunday, April 17th. And so now we're going to move to paragraph 10, the first sentence. "The following Wednesday, April 20th, Mullen called up and sounded angry. Now we're going to move along to paragraph 11, again, the first sentence.
Okay,
The
counsel, let me interrupt you. Are these questions or?
I'm just reading to go on the basis of, just to show that Ms. Hale was aware that on at least 4 occasions, she did state in her deposition that she was aware that that our client did call her to let her know about the issues of the vehicle.
That's more, either you should be asking her questions. If there's statements you want to make about the deposition, you can do that in closing argument. But
Okay.
this is limited to
Gotcha. No,
questions.
so Okay, so Ms. Hale. Ms. Hale?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, okay. So just to go back then to paragraph 9, I'm going to read the first statement. The first statement says, the first complaint I received from Mullen was on Sunday, April 17th. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then the second, and then on paragraph 10, you say the following Wednesday, April 20th, Mullen called up and sounded angry. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then on paragraph 12, the very first sentence, you stated, the following day, Monday, April 25th, Mullen called again and told me that the car would be returned the next day.
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay. So, yes. Okay. So, again, just to reiterate the question, so were you aware then that on at least 4 occasions she called you to discuss concerns about the vehicle?
Yes, there was 4.
Okay. So Fran Mullen Mullen, again, made you aware about her concerns regarding the car stalling
Yes.
and about acting sluggish
Yes.
and the engine sounding as if it was falling apart.
Yes.
And Fran Mullen communicated to you that the car repairs needed to be completed prior to her sending the remaining $15,000. Is that correct?
She stated that the deal was off. Yes.
So you recommended Fran Mullen to take the car to your mechanic, correct?
Yes.
And you told Fran Mullen that the car would be fixed as good as new.
Yes.
So, and Fran did take the car to get inspected, correct?
Yes.
But you did not offer to pay for the repair costs.
Nobody said anything about that.
But you didn't offer either, correct?
No.
Okay. And so when issues of the cars were identified, the car was not repaired. Is that correct?
I believe so.
And so then Fran Mullen made you aware that she was rescinding the contract.
Yes.
And after that, she returned the vehicle to your home. Or
No.
let me rephrase, I'm sorry. She stated that she would be returning the vehicle to your home. She communicated that she would be returning the vehicle to your home.
Between her yelling, she yelled something of that.
So then she did communicate though. Is that correct?
She was yelling stuff at me about returning the car. She was unhappy.
Councilman,
And then
Council, your total right now you're at 28 minutes.
Okay.
If you want to have a closing, you're going to have to wrap it up pretty quick.
okay. You did not return the $30,000. Is that correct, Ms. Mullen?
No, I did not.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. That's no more questions.
Any rebuttal?
No, Your Honor.
No rebuttal? Is that right?
Correct, Your Honor, no rebuttal.
All right, let's go to closings. I think my understanding of the defense goes first. 23, 24. You have a total of 6 minutes. Okay? You can go less than that, but you can't go over it. Okay?
Understood, Your Honor.
All right. You ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
Your Honor, we agree with the plaintiff. This case is about breach of contract. Plaintiff entered into a contract. The plaintiff didn't pay as agreed. The plaintiff unilaterally canceled this contract, and the plaintiff continued to drive the vehicle after canceling the contract, costing thousands of dollars. And in fact, the plaintiff never even returned the vehicle to the defendant. Now, the law states that there are 2 issues about express warranty, making an express warranty on behalf of my client, and that is that they make a statement of fact, and that fact is incorrect. Now, I submit to you that you heard evidence that we have context here that 2 people were just standing in a driveway staring at a car. They were not experts. Neither one of them was an expert or claimed to be an expert for that matter. The listener's reasonable understanding is an important point as well, because the plaintiff was hesitant to purchase an old sports car. Now, the nature of such a defect as well is that it was a hidden issue, hidden inside the car, that neither of them could have known even if it had existed at the time of the sale. However, neither were mechanics and could have known. Now, the seriousness is one of the issues here, because we have the plaintiff who drove it to a racetrack, at which point she comes back, and now we have thousands of dollars in damage. That would not have cost thousands of dollars had the plaintiff not taken it to a racetrack. Now, contrast that with mere puffery, such as you heard that the plaintiff say, I apologize, that my client say that the car was in excellent condition. In fact, she was so convinced that it was in excellent condition, she said that in the ad and after the inspection by the plaintiff. Now, should you find a warranty existed, Your Honor, we submit that the defect was not present at the time of the sale. In fact, the plaintiff, the defendant, my client, and Terry Laurel, the mechanic, said there was no engine noises that existed during the inspection. The first inspection, that is. Now, the mechanic, Terry Laurel, also said the chain tensioner issues would cause noises, and they did not have any noises during that inspection. Even still, the defendant was told not to drive it long distances without further inspection. Now, Your Honor, should you find that there is an express warranty made by my client, we submit to you that the warranty was not breached. And in fact, the injuries and damages were caused by the plaintiff. The plaintiff was advised to conduct an inspection by Terry Laurel. I apologize. The plaintiff also ignored expert advice and took a long drive to the racetrack. These engine problems surfaced upon return only, and it was unreasonable to take that road trip considering the advice from the expert. Should you find a warranty existed, that a contract is breached, and that there are damages, we submit to you, Your Honor, that this was an improper revocation of the contract. The plaintiff never gave my client a chance to cure any issues that later surfaced. The plaintiff never asked the defendant to pay for repairs. They never discussed the repairs needed, and the defendant was uninformed on the exact nature of the repairs. No receipts were submitted to the defendant, my client, so my client had no way of paying for these repairs. Now, the content of notice that's required for for revocation of a contract requires good faith, prevention of surprise, and reasonable adjustment. Now, none of those were met. Here we have no good faith. Shouting on the phone saying I'm going to return the car is not good faith. Prevention of surprise, I think we found out that my client was very surprised to find out that there was a car in her driveway, apparently when she wasn't even home. Additionally, we submit to you that there was no reasonable adjustment on behalf of the plaintiff. She never arranged for a return, and it sure surprised my client. In summary, Your Honor, the defendant never made an express warranty that the engine on an old sports car was going to be problem-free and will be problem-free for a certain length of time. Any perceived warranty was not breached because no known problem with the chain tensioner existed at the time of the sale. Additionally, any damage to the car not known about was severely exacerbated by the plaintiff's driving against expert opinion. Lastly, the plaintiff improperly revoked the contract by not making reasonable arrangements and surprising my client with the return of the car that we cannot confirm. Your Honor, we ask that you fine for my client, the defendant, and award my client $15,000 that she is rightfully owed under this contract. Thank you for your consideration. I look forward to your reasonable verdict. Defense rests.
Okay, Iris, you've got a minute.
I had two.
No, it's actually less than that, but I'm going to give you a minute, okay? Sorry, but those are the rules.
Okay, I thought I had two. Well, let me know when I can begin. Thank you.
Go ahead. Whenever you're ready.
Thank you. May it please the court. Opposing counsel says that our claim is puffery, but by any means is our claim puffery. This is a clear breach of warranty case. A warranty breach requires 3 elements to be met. Was there a warranty? Was the warranty breached? And did the breach result in injury? We have proven all 3 of those. As you heard in Ms. Mullins' testimony, she asked the right questions. She asked about mechanical condition of the car. The defendant said that the car ran well. When evaluating whether the case meets the elements for breach, we look at those three questions mentioned. In this case, the warranty was created by Miss Hill advertising the car being in excellent condition. Miss Hill created a warranty when she said there were no major problems and no mechanical issues. The next question was if the warranty was breached. In this case, we did show that the car was defective at the time of the sale. You heard Miss Mullen testify that the car immediately was sluggish and stalling. You then heard Miss Mullen say that on April 24th, 2 weeks after she brought the car, it started making strange rattling sound. Miss Mullen only had the car for 2 weeks. The mechanic said that it would have taken more than 2 weeks of harsh use to cause problems that he saw. The defendant failed to properly maintain the Porsche, therefore the defendant breached the warranty. The final question the plaintiff needed to prove, we need to prove in the affirmative that the breach was the result of injury. Here, the injury would not have occurred but for the defendant's warranties that the vehicle was in excellent condition and no major problems. In closing, thank you.
Okay, good. Y'all did a good job. Very nice job. I hate to do that, but when they tell us that you got to stick to 30 minutes because if you go out, then other people say it's not fair. So that's a strict rule, and I give you more time. Mr. Braden and Mr. Evington, I hope you're not objecting to the extra minute that I gave her, are you?
No.
Okay. Okay.
No.
All right. Okay. What I want to do is I'm going to do a brief eval, and we'll go through some things here. But before I do that, I just want to get some history or some info on you. Where are you from? Where'd you go to undergrad, and what kind of law do you want to practice, if that's okay? So, Braden, can you start out?
Yes, sir. So I'm from Kansas, but I live in Baltimore, Maryland. I work for the Army. I'll probably end up practicing maybe national security law. I went to undergrad in Pittsburgh State, Pittsburgh, Kansas.
Okay. Mary?
Yeah, I'm from Houston, Texas. My background's in finance and accounting. I went to the University of Houston, and my goal is to continue work in a corporate setting as general counsel or a legal ethics compliance officer.
Okay, thank you. Rodney?
Yeah, I went to undergrad in Southern California where I lived, and finished up in an online school, Cal Southern University, and then been working in law enforcement for the last 16 years. And as far as the law, I'm undecided moving forward, but I'm going to try to get the business certificate and go from there.
Where do you live now?
Same place, Southern California, in like Riverside area.
Okay, I'm in Palm Springs right now. I think we're
I've worked. I was assigned to the Indio station as well as the Palm Desert station for a couple years.
Okay, because we're in La Quinta now. All right.
Oh yes, I worked. I did the contract for La Quinta actually.
Interesting. Iris?
Yes, I'm in Dallas. Well, live in Dallas, Texas. Undergrad was at Texas Women's University and graduate school at Texas A&M Commerce. I was a special education teacher, so staying in the realm of compliance, I've decided to pursue my healthcare compliance certificate. So somewhere in the compliance realm.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to go through this. When I do this, I'm trying to get you to learn. It's a learning experience, so I'm going to be critical. Don't take it personal. All right. But I think every lawyer, when you get your degree, you should know how to try cases. Whether it's for your profession or, litigation in a firm or representing your uncle in a speeding ticket, whatever. You should know how to handle cases, and that's what I think Mitchell Hamline is actually pretty good at that. They require this, and so I'm just going to go through some tips, and my tips are just straight my experience. These are not out of a book. These are straight things that I observed over 34 years. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And again, there as a prosecutor, I don't know, Rodney, did you ever testify in court as a police officer?
Yeah, I get the unfortunate opportunity to do so about every other week.
Oh, okay. Well, we're on the same page. All right. Openings are real simple. You're just trying to set the stage. I always thought they say most juries make up their mind or fact finders after your opening, so I think they're pretty important. Let's see. Mary and Braden, you both had good openings. I like this is a case about broken promises. You're setting the theme, Mary. Then you said that you set out 3 issues. You will see. I like the fact that then you've answered those. You're not supposed to argue an opening, but people do anyway. And I thought you got close to that. So I thought you did a nice job on that. Brady did the same thing. I like the content. You also were on the line between argument and opening statement, but I thought it didn't cross, so I thought you did a nice job on that. I'm going to mention to everybody about reading. Try not to read. It's a little bit different in the Zoom situation. Try to set it up so it doesn't look like you're reading. And I think you did a pretty good job. Everybody did a pretty good job at that. It wasn't like you were tied in. But if you're going to do it in person, you should definitely not read. And if you're going to do it here, try to disguise it or do something so it's not real obvious. Okay? Direct. Iris, you had a good witness. I thought she did a nice job. Is she another law student?
She is. She went yesterday.
No. And did you guys prep? Did you have a chance to
We
prep?
did. We prepped quite a bit.
She did a nice job.
We
She had
prepped quite a
stuff
bit.
down. I thought you did a good job on exhibits. You crossed all the T's and did exhibits very, very good. That's not easy to do, and especially if you don't have experience. But I thought you did a nice job. I think you did 2 or 3 of them, and you covered everything. I also like the fact you had a good rapport with your witness, and then when she said something about that the party hung up on her, on a phone call, you said wow. I thought that was good. I liked that. I mean, it was just a natural reaction. So I like that. I thought you did a real good job with her on direct.
Thank you so much.
Direct is real. It's just step by step. And you try to do preparation. As a prosecutor, I've done thousands of directs over the years, primarily with law enforcement, and it's step by step and getting everything out you want. And if you need to go back a little bit, you can do that. If you get a witness that forgets something, I'll give you a tip. You can go back and ask a leading question to get your answer. And for example, let's say something happened at 10 o'clock, and the witness says that it happened at 7 o'clock. Sometimes you can go back and say, well, isn't it, or this happened at 7 o'clock, didn't it? Objection, leading, sustained. What time did it happen? Okay, so if you get minor things like that, sometimes you can go through and cover it with leading. But anyway, nice job. I've got, and then cross. Rodney, I liked your cross. except for one thing, you didn't ask closed-end questions. You were asking a lot of open-ended questions, almost all open-ended questions. I liked it though, but again, you got to everything should be leading. For example, what condition was the Porsche? And you're trying to show that the condition was in good shape, right? That the Porsche was in good shape. So just saying the Porsche was in good shape, wasn't it? Isn't it true the Porsche was in good shape? Did you buy the car? You bought the car, didn't you? You know, because, you know, everything should be leading. You're not trying to elicit information. You're trying to, and I knew where you were going on it. It's just for cross, everything should be leading. I like you're trying to get her to say that she canceled the contract. Ordinarily, you'd get a legal objection to that, but that's a legal conclusion when the contract is actually canceled. But it's fine. I think, you know, you threw it out there, but usually there would be an objection on that. You know, you've got her to say that she raced at, she was at the racetrack at Brainerd. And then I thought it was pretty smart because you didn't follow up on it. You didn't go into it more. And then I thought in closing, you kind of say more about that. Because in rebuttal, Iris didn't bring that up. So you could have said, you know, she testified that she raced the car at Brainerd, right? So anyway, I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but I knew that you didn't go back into it, and I thought you'd do it more on closing.
So I thought I'd do like a quick little, I'll just drop that and leave it where it's at and let the reasonable minds reach reasonable conclusions.
That was a good strategy. Just I'd talk a little bit more about it in your closing because you got it in. And who knows whether she did or not, but the evidence shows that she did. So, or the testimony said that she did. So anyway, but yeah, just the big emphasis though is a closed end. Everything's got to be leading, all right? Yeah, the rebuttal, Iris, I would have mentioned the racetrack. I don't know. You know, maybe I'm the only one, but I picked that up and I thought you were going to say something. I thought your rebuttal question was good, but you could have went a little bit longer on that. Just because if you asked her, did you race the car at the racetrack? She's going to say no, I would think, right? So it's only one question.
Great point.
Yeah. Okay. Direct for Pat Hale. Right, I wouldn't ask her if she's a car girl. I know what you're doing, but you're kind of treading on, you know. First of all, be a car woman, right? And
Yeah, just think of that.
but you're not an expert in cars, right? So anyway, you know, present company excluded. I don't know if anybody was offended, but stay away from that. When you're doing now the exhibit for the contract, you didn't enter that, did you?
Well, because it was already entered. So the first one that I tried to enter was the ad, and that was entered. Then I realized that the contract was already entered too. I thought.
Was the contract entered also? I didn't think so. Anybody, Iris or Mary, did you enter that? The contract? No. Iris, you didn't either, did you?
Nope.
No.
I entered the ad and the receipt.
Right. So the contract was not entered into. Okay. Right?
Got it. Yeah.
So here's the way you do it in big trials or any trials. You write all your evidence, you list it, and then you put two categories, offered and received. And then you offer it, and then you put a check, and then it's received, and you put a check. And then before you finish, you look at your list to make sure everything's been offered and received. Okay? Or anything else that's in there that's been offered or received. That's your checklist. Okay? So I was wondering about that, if you wanted that in, because I think it's kind of important. And then there's steps you got to do if you're going to show if you're just going to hold out the screen, there's a few extra questions you would ask. So, any thoughts?
No, that's good to know. Yeah. I didn't realize that it wasn't already entered.
Yeah. Okay. Your witness is good too. I thought your Pat Hale was good. Is she a law student also?
Well, you want to know who that is? That's actually Rodney's wife.
Oh, really? Lawyer? No? Okay. All right. Tell her the check is on the way from Mitchell. Right? Okay. Mary, your cross was good. It was too long. I didn't want to cut you off, but you had these things in the deposition that you wanted to point out. You have to point it out with questions, okay? You can't, I think you were just kind of relaying it to her, and you got to point it out in questions in a way that's going to help your case.
Mhm.
So you got to phrase the question. I think you had 4 things in there you wanted to show, right?
Mhm.
Just ask it.
Okay.
Just ask it as it says. You said this in the deposition, right? You said this. Just make it real direct is the way to do it. Okay. And if she doesn't know where you are, then you can go back on it. But you can't testify yourself what's in there. Okay. You got me on that, or?
Yeah. I think for me it was just because I wanted to make sure everybody was following on where I was at. So I thought, okay, let me read it and then, but that makes more sense.
Yeah, you got to just ask questions. You got to ask leading questions on it. So, but otherwise, you did a good job. You had a lot of your leading. Your questions were closed in, and you did some good job with leading questions on your cross. Okay, and she's a good witness. I mean, I think she's good. Let's see. Okay, and then closings. Rodney did a good job. You got a good style. You got a good natural style. You're relaxed, but you're getting exactly to the point. And you look relaxed about it. And, if you've got some experience, which you have, it probably helps. But I like that also. It's an improper revocation. So we look at more of the facts in the law, and I thought that was good. That's a good argument. Like I said, you've got a good tone, which is you were arguing, but you didn't cross the line. Okay.
Thank you.
Arguing facts is always good. Iris, you got a bad deal. Sorry. It's kind of hard to do it in a minute or two. We gave you an extra minute, but what you did was fine. You did a good job.
Thank you.
It's kind of hard to condense last minute. You probably had like 5 minutes prepared.
Yep, about 6 minutes and 20 seconds I had prepared to cut down to one.
How much?
6 minutes and 20 seconds.
Well, it's too bad. It's our loss. We were deprived. We didn't. We couldn't hear it. So
it's okay.
Yeah, no, but
all is well. Thank you.
Objections. Robbie, what was your objection again?
It was that they didn't enter the deposition into evidence. They were presenting it and reading from it.
Okay. And then, so once she enters,
she left me with 1 minute.
You make another objection about that? I mean, the objection would have been, okay, now that it's in, she has to ask questions about it. But you really wouldn't have to because it's in. You can just make arguments on it. Okay? So, and then Mary, I think you had an objection also? You got a... Okay.
I was looking at my notes. I'm like, wait, which one is? And so I heard when it was talking about almost implying that she was an expert witness, but then she said she didn't. So that part was the part I caught. So I missed. So I was going to try to object on questions, assuming that she was an expert. But I missed the part that she said, I wouldn't know, I'm not that. So it kind of right there.
Well, all of you did a nice job. And any questions at all?
I have one question.
Go ahead. Fire away.
So I had the pleasure of getting to hear Iris's beautiful closing. So just to, I guess I don't know to confirm, since I, went over even, and I tried to practice it to go under, but I went over and took that wouldn't count against another student not being able to say their thing. Correct.
I am not going to hold it against
okay.
against Iris, so don't worry about that. Yeah.
I was like, please knock off points on me, but yeah, because
I'm able to give her a high grade from what I saw.
So. Yeah, 100.
Okay. All is well.
All right. Anything else? Anybody else have anything? Okay. Well, good luck to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're entering good fields. You can make a difference. So, okay. All right. Thank you.
Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Tell me more. Oh, stop the other.
Oh, yeah.